that's not going to be good.
Oh, g'day, Stu here from UAVfutures, and today, well, we're going to be checking out this broken boy right here. Now, this is the part 2 review of the Sigan Frame, and if you haven't seen part 1, I'm going to leave a little link up here. Definitely go check that out. But I think you guys can see how this review is going to end. So I've got these two quads here. I took them out for a flight, and yeah, you can see things didn't end very well for both of these. And the crazy thing was, both of these frames, they weren't actually mine. These are the only two quads I've ever reviewed that have been on loan to me, and they happen to be the only two that I have sort of broken, especially in a big sort of way. So what we're going to do in this part 2 review video, we're going to stick it on the bench. I'm going to show you where this frame's shortcomings were and exactly where it broke, and that sort of does line up with how I was feeling about it anyway. And then I'm going to show you some of the flight footage, because it was pretty cool flying these things around. You know, the Stretch X, this one here was designed for some HD FPV, which I think is really, really cool. And then also the analog version, and I'll also show you guys the crash that happened to rip this arm straight off. Anyway, let's stick them on the bench, and then we'll cut down to the field and talk about its flight characteristics. Let's do it. Alrighty, so here it is on the bench, and here's the broken. This is the analog version. I'll get to the HD version in a minute. And you can see this thing broke exactly where in part 1 I said I was a little bit worried about the strength, and that's because this bottom plate here, it's only 2 mils thick. I'll flash some pictures on the screen. It's only 2 mils thick. So in a hard impact, running into a tree or the ground or something like that, all the force is going to be put on that 2 mils of carbon. And then to make matters worse, you've got this bottom part screwed through with a little standoff to the top, but all the stress in that crash pushes down on this one specific point, and that is exactly where it's broken. You can even see it comes in a little triangle just here. Why didn't, if you really wanted these bumpers, these bottom parts, why wouldn't you just have it so it runs? I'm going to bend this prop so I can do this properly. But why, oh, these props are really, really not in a good shape. But why doesn't this come out a little bit further into the arm? Don't make it going down into a point, because that's where all the stress is going to happen. So that's where this frame broke, and you can see it's also ripped off the pod, so it's pulled out just in this part, because the top part, these tiny little notches, and we'll talk about this with the HD one, they're really not strong enough sort of for today's, I guess, how fast you should be going with these things, because look, this analog version did handle pretty well, and we will be showing you some flight footage. But before we do that, let's jump over and I'll show you the other problem I had with the frame looking at the HD one. So the HD one, what actually happened with this, you can see that what we've had, all we did with this one, it wasn't really a bad crash, it was just a bit of a tumble across the ground, like a bit of a cartwheel, no hard trees or anything like that. But what's happened, it's totally ripped this top pod off in however it's done that across the ground, and it's ripped it out because all it had holding it in was these tiny little tabs. So besides that one, all 3 of these tiny little tabs have broken off. And I know that's meant to be the quick change system that lets you take the pod on and off, but really, is that worth it if you're going to be breaking your base plate? I think they'd be much better off to sort of redesign these things, have a bit of a stronger pod connection, even if it takes a little bit longer. And also, when it comes to the arms, make just I know it looks really good with everything in there, but I find it's just way too weak. So in my opinion, I think you'd be much better off with one solid base plate. Now look, it's not all negative. Look, this one was definitely a big hard crash, and I still really do like what the Sigan frames are doing with the HD stuff, putting the Connex in like that. I think that's fantastic, and that's definitely the way of the future. As we get more and more into HD, I definitely think we need frames designed specifically around these transmitters, because they are pretty big. But this one for me, I just do worry about its durability. It might be great to have HD, but not if it's going to break a little bit more than some of the others. So what we want to do now, I'm not going to actually be able to show you any of the HD footage from this one because I have no way of recording this, but I can show you some of the analog version of this one zipping around. I'll be able to talk about its flight characteristics, and we'll also be able to check out that gnarly crash, because look, it was a big crash, that gnarly crash I had heading straight into a tree. Alright, so let's cut down and check out some flight footage in 3, 2, 1.
You got them all yet?
Where you going, Stu?
Back corner, start of the straight.
Okie dokie, so on board, and of course this is with the analog one, because I did have no way to record the HD one. You can see straight off the bat, it has got plenty, and I mean plenty of punch. So of course this isn't my build, this is one that Phaser built for me, and I definitely think it does need a little bit of a tune, or there's something going on, because I am getting some sort of oscillations, and I don't know if that was just the raw power of this bad boy, but this thing did feel very, very fast. I think in terms of like an acro frame, if you want to do some big punch outs and big hang times and those sorts of things, this sort of quad or this amount of power would be very, very cool. In terms of racing and flying around a track, I actually found, and this is my first time flying this one, I actually found myself shooting over the sort of the targets that I wanted to hit, sort of, and I don't know if that was just because it was going so fast. So a really, really fast quad, but also it felt a little bit unstable. It was rocking the Brother, I think the Brother Hobby, some of the Brother Hobby motors, and also some of the Cyclone props. But yeah, so it felt okay. It felt like a bit of a cruising quad here, just going around the course. But if you really got into that high throttle, it felt a little bit jumpy to me, or a little bit harder to control. Now the HD version of this one, it felt a little bit similar, but I think the extra weight was really sort of messing around with it a little bit, because on the HD version, I found it had quite some more severe oscillations, especially at that high punch. And I don't know if that's just the Sigan frames, and both of them at high throttle seem to come up with those sort of oscillations, or if it was just these two builds or just these two tunes. It's really, really hard to tell when you've got some quads on loan, I guess. But they did, look, this one was very, very powerful, but for me the problem was the oscillations. And as you'll see in a minute, oh, there's a little tap, that's not what broke it. But and pretty cool for acro, but as you'll see in a minute, yeah, it definitely took a big, big hit. So I'm just going to let you watch this little clip right here. Yeah, and that was a pretty solid hit right there. Parts went flying everywhere.
Well, it's a little bit breakable. Probably broke where I thought it was going to break. Shit. Sorry, Phaser. Well, what do you reckon, Trevor?
Wow, where's the best of it? I reckon I got that spot on. What? That is piss weak, isn't it?
Well, I hit it pretty hard.
Oh yeah, but we've hit things hard that before. Let's just bloody sheared off, bloody wrecked it. Yeah. I give that a rating of 5, didn't I? Sorry guys. 1. Look at that. Actually it's 2. 2 bits. That's piss poor.
Alrighty, so there it is. There's my part 2 review of the Sigan Frame, however you pronounce it. There'll be a link down below to exactly what it is. And I think, look, in the first review I said they were I felt like they were going to be breakable, especially in the arms, and I thought the 2 parts here would have been much better off with a stronger, thicker piece of carbon. And I think my gut paid off, or was on to the money in that one, because yeah, this thing snapped clean off, and I haven't broken very many arms lately, especially like the 4mm ones. They're very, very tough, and just to have this frame break and sort of like its first or second mate, and look, maybe it was unlucky, but yeah, that pretty much broke exactly where I thought it was going to. And the same thing, like I didn't pick this up the first time. I actually liked how the pod style would pop on and off right here, but it is a massive weak point in the frame, because there's not really too much holding on this one. And like I said, I can't show you any of the HD footage of this one because I had no way of recording it, I guess the HD feed of this one. So yeah, a little bit disappointed in the design. So if I was over at Sigan Frames, I really like what they're doing with trying to make a frame specifically for the HD mounts, but I do think they definitely need to get rid of this 2 sort of stack mount just here and go after something a little bit more durable, because at the moment, that's 2 of them that I broke in 1 flight session. So look, maybe I was unlucky, but I did think they looked a little bit weak in some cases. Anyway, hopefully you guys liked that. Massive shout out to Phaser FPV, and also a big sorry. I'm sorry I broke your quads, mate. You know, and especially this one, because this one was so pretty. It really, really did look the part, so it looked really, really fancy. So yeah, I'm really sorry, Phaser, that I broke your quads. But other than that, for everybody else, subscribe for more FPV related content, and as always, happy flying.
Alrighty, so hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel and check out these videos. And I'm also going to leave a little link here to my Patreon page, because I've got some fantastic Patreon supporters and I like to give back to them as well. So if you want to join the UAVfutures family, there's things like bonus Velcro straps, little bundles of FPV goodies and things like that that also get sent out. Anyway, happy flying.